Hey everybody, welcome. I'm Dave.
And I'm Lisa.
All right. Well, lots going on this week.
I know. Guess what this weekend is?
I think it's a beautiful day.
It's a beautiful day. And you guys were so excited for us as a community to be out in our community. And hopefully many of you as life groups are going to have an opportunity to get together.
Yeah, and serve together.
So, hey, our touch point question for the month of October is going to be all about how was your experience with your life group with serving for Beautiful Day. So once during this month, just take a minute and fill that part out because we'd love to hear stories. And also, if you're out with your group, take a few pictures and send them to us because we would love to be able to maybe post them somewhere.
Yeah.
And just show people that serving together as a life group, man, there's nothing better.
It's pretty cool.
And
there's lots of projects and
if you haven't signed up yourself or with your life group, you still have time.
Yeah.
You can still get into them. So go to beautifulday.org or WestGateChurch.beautifulday.org.
You can go to beautifulday.org or go to WestGateChurch.org and you can still sign up. And you can even do walk-ups, although they don't like to do that. They like to account for the number of people that are there and plan for it. But just so you know, you really can do just a walk-up registration. As long as you've got an ID, you can still do that.
Okay, good.
So, all right, what else?
We're going to spend the next little bit of our time to talk about what we've been talking about the last couple of weeks called Giving Good.
Giving Good.
Dave.
It's been at least... since I've been here, we haven't done a giving campaign as a church. There's not been a financial campaign. And so this is kind of the first one. Not that we haven't given money. There's Advent Conspiracy every year. There's the Loud campaign that happens every year where we talk about giving outside of our walls to missionaries and mission work. But in terms of a campaign for like something for the church, in terms of a building, or in this case, the debt on a piece of land, the Jack in the Box lot, we haven't really done that. So talking about money in church can be a little weird. And so churches tend to go one of two ways. They either don't talk about it at all, or they talk about it in really ugly and manipulative ways. And sometimes, like, you've seen that. I remember growing up, there was a guy named Oral Roberts who said kind of famously, if I don't raise $1 million, God's going to kill me. And so he raised $1 million. So that's kind of one of the things that comes in my head as like really manipulative. But you can see it all over. You'll see people maybe in the news say things about money, or they'll use God or the church as a way to manipulate. And that's really ugly. And so sometimes people swing the other way and just don't talk about it. So in light of that, to think well about money theologically and personally, our own J. Kim just wrote an article for Christianity Today and pastors. It's an article on how generosity is actually a gateway to freedom. And especially in this area where there's a lot of wealth, freedom, in this case, Jay's talking about a number of different ways. It's freedom from selfishness. It's freedom from self-preoccupation and preoccupation with our own kingdoms. It's also freedom from fear. Because it's a way of saying, God, I trust that you're going to actually provide. And it's a freedom from comfort, which is sometimes how we use money just to get what we want and instead participate. So it's a really awesome article. It's there in the link below. The link is included in the email. It's a great read. It just to help you and your people begin to think theologically about money. All of us have to do the work of trying to figure out how can we submit all of ourselves, including the part of ourselves which is the financial part, the resources that God has uniquely given to you or your family, that is different than the resources that God's given to you, Lisa, and to you, listener. It's just unique. And so doing the hard work of actually thinking well about it and actually presenting it before God in prayer and seeing what might happen, what God might want, that's a worthy exercise.
Absolutely. And if I'm really honest, Mark and I just recently, last week, had this conversation because we were both praying about what is our amount that we feel to get, and we had different views on that. And I have to say, I was more the selfish, thinking like, well, we already give, blah blah blah, this amount, and it was good for me and good for my heart to stop and think about what does sacrificial giving look like. And to our whole study on the book that Dave wrote on Abraham, what does it look like to trust God when, and fill in the blank. Is he going to meet my needs? Is he going to meet our needs? He knows our needs, and he will. And so I think it's good for us every once in a while to pause and ask the question, what does it look like for it to hurt a little bit? even.
And the other side of this is the next lesson from the life of Abraham, which is, of course, the second lesson is, do I trust God even when it doesn't make sense, or those kinds of things. That's one of the lessons. But the other lesson is to do justice, to love what's right, to do what's right, and to set things right. Yeah. And part of this offering is about Advent conspiracy money to build wells. And so even packaged in this campaign is an emphasis on not just our parking lot that we're trying to, or this Jack in the Box lot, but the larger global need that we can actually, as a community, begin to support. So even tacked onto this campaign is this justice idea that there are some that don't have water, that the pandemic has really hurt those who are at the bottom ends economically. And so we're trying to bring water for clean drinking water and irrigation to some folks who don't have it. So there's even that lesson in Abraham. So both are kind of going, it's kind of a neat little thing.
And I love that. And I've been around WestGate long enough to know that when we have done campaigns in the past, we have always partnered it with something that would give away. It's not just
outside the walls.
Yeah, outside the walls. So I love that we do that. And God has continued to be faithful, and you all have been very generous. And to this date, we have been able to do the things that God has plopped in our laps to some degree. And this Jack in the Box, and we won't go into the story, but that was pretty much it wasn't supposed to be.
No, just given to us. And
it did. So, and also you guys, just to know where WestGate is located and the things that are going to be changing around us, the city's doing a bunch of different things. We are going to be plopped in the middle of like a whole new community, and how might God use us as a church and individuals. So not only overseas, but now also right where we're at is part of this whole giving good. So
that whole area right across the parking lot, the Saratoga, Paseo de Saratoga, is a giant city development. And then the Cato lot is a giant development. There's a lot of neat moving parts, and we're really excited that God has positioned our church right there, not just so that we can be in the middle of the action, but because so many people are going to be living there. And for us to be a faithful, interesting, inviting presence of what it means to follow Jesus, we're actually pretty excited about that positioning, and we want to be faithful in where God's put us. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So we encourage you to read the article that Jay wrote, and hopefully it'll just encourage your own heart and give you that inspiration, like, oh my goodness, this is why I want to be generous with what God's given us.
And if you've got more questions, you can always reach out to us or just email. And thank you guys for all that you do.
Yeah, and you guys enjoy your time together, those of you that are able to get together for a beautiful day, serving together. And we look forward to hearing about that, and look forward to what God's doing at WestGate in your life groups as well as in our church as a whole. So appreciate you guys.
Thank you guys. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.